Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day so far. So today we are going to continue talking about dividing decimals. And if you have the graphic organizer, we are going to do the second example or second type of dividing decimals on your sheet. If you do not have the graphic organizer, don't worry about it. You're just doing these problems in your math notebook for practice. So to get started, here is your warm-up. Please keep in mind, I'm making these videos for you. So how much you're getting out of these videos and how much you're learning is all depending on if you're actually doing the work. So after I read the problem, please make sure you're pausing the video and actually trying these on your own and writing down the work in your notebook. It's very important that you're actually doing your part of the work. So Maria and 5 friends spent $54.18 at the ice cream shop. If they all split the bill equally, how much does each person pay? So do not get tripped up by figuring out how many people are in this problem. So it's meant to trick you. So make sure you think about how many people are actually splitting the bill of $54.18. Okay, so pause the video and try to figure out how much each person is going to pay. Go. Okay, hopefully you actually paused the video and figured it out. So you are taking $54.18 and you're splitting it up amongst Maria and 5 friends. So you actually want to add Maria in, and it would be 6 people that are splitting the bill. So hopefully that did not trick you. So first thing you always want to do when you're working with decimals is to pop your decimal up into the quotient, just like we did yesterday. After you do that, you just divide like normal. So does 6 go into 5? It does not. Does 6 go into 54? 6 goes into 54 9 times, because 9 times 6 is 54. Subtract. You get 0. Bring down the 1. So does 6 go into 1? It does not go into 1. So I would say that it goes in 0 times. Don't forget, if you bring down a digit, you always have to put something above it in the quotient before you bring down the next digit. So how many times does 6 go into 18? It goes in 3 times, because 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, so that tells me that each person will pay $9.03. Okay, so hopefully you got that correct. So for today, remember, we are doing this example. It's going to be the first thing we do. So if you have the graphic organizer, you're working in that box, and then you can just flip it over and do the other ones on the back, or you can do them in your notebook. Whatever you like. So at a hot dog eating contest, a total of 571.5 hot dogs were eaten. Holy moly, that's a lot of hot dogs. So if all 8 contestants ate the same number of hot dogs, how many hot dogs did each eat? Okay, so we have a total amount of hot dogs, which is 571.5. So the total is going to go inside. And then we're going to divide that amongst the 8 contestants. So today's going to be when we have a remainder, and I'm going to show you what that's going to look like when you actually get to the point when you have a remainder. It's going to be a little different than we did before with whole numbers. So first step when dividing with decimals is always to pop up your decimal into the quotient. So from there, ask yourself, does 8 go into 5? It does not. Does 8 go into 57? It does. It's going to go in 7 times, because 8 times 7 is 56. So subtract 56. 7 minus 6 is 1. Okay, bring down the 1. Does 8 go into 11? It does. It goes in once. I'm going to subtract 8. Cannot subtract 1 minus 8, so we'll borrow. 10 minus 8 is My bad. That's 11 minus 8 is 3. Okay, next step is to bring down the 5. So how many times does 8 go into 35? It will go in 4 times, because 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So at this point, you may remember from when we were dividing with whole numbers, you would just write the remainder up at the top, remainder 3. So now that we're actually working with decimals, you can go and get an exact decimal for that remainder, so you are no longer able to write remainder 3. We're actually going to keep going and try to figure out the actual decimal answer for this. So it may get a little bit long, so I'll show you how it gets long. So all you need to do is we're going to tack on zeros behind our dividend and keep bringing them down until we get a no remainder. So we're going to tack on a 0 and bring it down. And ask yourself, how many times does 8 go into 30? Goes in 3 times, because 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract, you can't do 0 minus 4. Borrow, 10 minus 4 is 6. So we still have a remainder. So you're going to tack on another 0 in your dividend and bring it on down. Does 8 go into 60? It does. It goes in 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract. Can't do it, so borrow. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. Okay, we still have a remainder. So we're going to tack on another 0, bring it on down. It kind of looks cool after a while. So, 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40, so we subtract, and perfect, no remainder. So our answer would be 71.4375. So each hot dog, or each contestant ate 71.4375 hot dogs. So roughly around 71 hot dogs each. So when it comes to adding the zeros, we only added 3 in this problem. If you ever get to a point where you're adding like 10 zeros, that's a little excessive. I try not to give you problems like that. So you might want to, at that point, grab out a calculator and check your work, and you may have gone wrong. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be adding a ton of zeros. So at this point, if you did not copy down the work for this problem as I was doing it, that's totally fine. I just want you to pause the video and copy it down now, and then we're going to move on to one more example. Okay, so one more example for you. You can do this on the back of the graphic organizer or in your notebook. So the school gaming club spent $196.80 on snacks and prizes for a party. There are 25 members in the club. Each agrees to pay an equal share for the snacks and prizes. How much does each person have to pay for snacks? So you have your total, which is $196.80. So that's what's going to go inside your division house. And you're splitting that into 25 groups. Okay, so don't forget, your first step is to always bump up the decimal into the quotient. Sorry, my division house got weird. So bump up that decimal, and then we're going to divide like normal. So keep in mind, we are dividing by 25, so think of quarters. Always think of quarters. That's going to help you a lot in this problem. So does 25 go into 1? Nope, it does not. Does 25 go into 19? No, it does not. Does 25 go into 196? It does. So think about how many quarters it would take to get 196. I'm going to guess that, well, I know 4 would get me 100 because that's $1. So I'm going to guess 7. So 25 times 7, 7 times 5, 35. 7 times 2 is 14. So 175. And if I add another quarter to that, it would be 200. So that would go over. So perfect. It goes in 7 times. And I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. Perfect. So bring down the 8. So how many times does 25 go into 218? Well, we kind of just talked about how 25 times 8 should give you 200. Yep. So another 25 cents would be 225, so that would go over. So it goes in 8 times, and 8 times 25 is 200. Subtract 8, 1, 0. Okay, bring down the 0. So how many times does 25 go into 180? Well, we already know 7 times is 175, so it goes in 7 times. Subtract 175. Borrow 5, 0, 0. Okay, so we have a remainder again. So don't forget, anytime you have a remainder, we're not writing remainder 5 or R5. We're going to add our zeros onto the end of the dividend, and we're going to bring them down until we get an even number. Which, oh, perfect. 25 goes into 50 exactly 2 times. So that one was easy. So it goes in twice. 25 times 2 is 50. Subtract, you get 0. So 7.872. So how much does each person have to pay? So this is money. So that should look funny to you. We need to round that to 2 decimal places because money is always 2 decimal places. So we're going to round the 7 in the hundredths place by looking at the 2. The 2 just says to stay even. So $7.81 or 87 cents. Okay, they each have to pay $7.87. Please make sure you have that copy down in your notes or on the back of your graphic organizer as well. So today there aren't many problems in your book to actually practice this skill. It's more dividing a decimal by another decimal, which we're going to do tomorrow. So I do have a worksheet for you to work on. If you're a hybrid student, I tried to give it to you the day before, so you should have that in your folder. If you are an online student, I attached the doc or the Google Doc, which is the worksheet, to your assignment. You're not typing on this one. You're literally just looking at the problems, doing them on paper. I'll attach an answer key for you to check with because this is a skill that you need to practice. So please never skip my practices. Please do your part of this job and do all of these problems. If you have any questions, please let me know. And don't forget to do your formative homework, okay?